Hi guys, welcome to Buck and Jack. I'm Adrian, and today we're going to go grab a coffee with a mate because he's just got a new watch. Let's go see what he's got.
I'm used to lose a lot, don't even know the reasons why, so I forgot. Lots of love into these girls so hot. No way you get my heart shot, but it never stops.
So before we get people ranting about this chain of coffee shops, I know it was crap. The coffee was crap, the service was absolutely crap, and the atmosphere was so incredibly pretentious. But it was either this or Starbucks. At least the watch was great, and the company that was with the watch was absolutely fantastic. So let's get into it. So this is a Rolex Oyster Perpetual 34mm, the reference 114200. Now the guy who just bought this and is letting me play with it is the same guy who bought the Omega Railmaster that I reviewed a few months ago. I'll put a little link at the top and in the description. My sweet spot is kind of 34mm to 40mm watches. Now this 34mm Oyster Perpetual has really quite a beefy case. It's got so much presence. Not presence in the way of bling, but presence in the way of chunkiness. The bracelet has the same 20 wide millimeter at the lug, 20 wide millimeter Oyster bracelet, which is the same that's on the Submariner, GMT, and so on. So the bracelet is chunky, and the case itself is really quite chunky as well. The lugs are quite thick, and it's quite curvaceous around the edges of the case. I was listening to, I think it was a Houdinki or a Houdinki podcast or Grey Nato podcast, where they're talking about how boring the non-crown side of watches are. So the case side that is opposite to the crown, apparently that's a really boring area of the watch. However, with the Rolex, I think it is an incredibly gorgeous part of the watch. I think their Datejust, the old Explorers, and the Oyster Perpetuals, they've got such a satisfying curve along that edge. Now Rolex say that this dial is white, and it really isn't white when you get it in real life. It looks white in all the photographs and all of the press stuff, but when you actually get it, it looks more of a satiny kind of sandblasted aluminium finish. There's a detail on this watch that I absolutely love. Grand Seiko do this a lot, and it's very, very clever engineering and kind of very clever architecture of the dial. We've got a satiny or white silvery dial. We have white gold surrounds around the lume markers, and we have white gold hands. All of the lume is white as well, so you could argue that this wouldn't make sense. You wouldn't be able to tell the time. All the edges, however, are so heavily polished on the hands and on the hour markers. So at any point, there's going to be an edge that is leading off to a color and off to a shadow. And so there will always be a dark edge to one of the sides, making this a very legible watch. I first noticed this style of kind of watch architecture with the Grand Seiko when I was at one of their events, and they were talking about how the edges are so highly polished, and the angles, they found like the sweet spot for the angles, so there's always a very contrasting edge to the hand and the markers, and so everything does bounce off stuff. So it's one of the things that I really find satisfying, and I think it really works with this piece as well. So let's check out a few of the specs on this guy. It's quite a simple piece, so there's not a huge amount to talk about. So of course we've got a 34mm wide case, we have 20mm wide lugs, and we have a twin lock screw down crown. Now this crown and the case allows it all to have a water resistance of 100 meters, so it's a very capable watch, considering that it isn't particularly a sports watch or a tool watch. It's just kind of your everyday watch, but it can certainly take a bashing, and you can certainly go swimming with it. It's powered by the automatic movement, the caliber 3130, and it retails for £3,850. Now, although this is a relatively affordable watch within the Rolex world, £3,000 is a hell of a lot of money, I know. But within the Rolex world, this is within the kind of entry-level Rolexes and within the kind of affordable range of Rolex. But don't let that kind of put you off in any way, or don't let that kind of taint any vision of this. It's got all the same ingredients as all of their higher end watches. It uses all the same metal, same glass, same gold. All the processes are exactly the same as their GMTs, their Submariners, Daytonas, and so on. And the movement inside this guy, the 3130, is actually the same movement that is in the Submariner and the Explorer. So this movement is incredibly capable. It's COSC certified, it runs at an accuracy of ±2 seconds, and has a power reserve of 48 hours. I kind of think 48 hours is a bit of a, it's kind of an acceptable power reserve. There's a lot of people doing a lot more than that. 48 hours it's kind of the standard. It's nothing to brag about. But my whole point is that this movement inside this piece is very, very capable. It's tried, it's tested, and it is gonna last you a hell of a long time. The things that I love about this piece are the simplicity of the dial, the hands. The fact it is just a 3-hander. You've just got the minutes, the hours, and the seconds hands. There's no date, there's no complication in that way. So it's just such a focus on it telling the time. I like the fact it's a small case, but it's a case with character and presence. I think it's a very, space has been used very well and design has been used very well within this piece. There's nothing overly exciting. It's very similar to my Explorer, the 14270. One could very easily say that this is a boring watch, and I'd be quite, people say that my Explorer is a boring watch, and I'm very happy with that, because I kind of feel like that's part of the point of it. It is an under the radar watch. It's an incredibly capable watch by a very capable manufacturer, but you don't necessarily want everyone to know that you have this level of watch, and this kind of does that package for you. You could wear this in any situation, it would absolutely work. You can dive into the sea and it will be very capable. You can wear it in a suit in the office and it would look perfect. Equally, you could be having a conversation with your boss asking for a pay rise, and they will be none the wiser that you're wearing a £3,800 watch. Things that I would like to have changed on the watch or to have seen different, but that would have bumped up the price: the clasp. The clasp is very, very strong, it's very well engineered, but it doesn't have the applied Rolex logo, and it doesn't have any form of bracelet extension. It's not a deal breaker, and I kind of feel like it's within keeping to make kind of a money-saving clasp. Certainly milling out the logo on a clasp is far easier than machining a logo and applying it. So it makes sense, it completely makes sense. I really don't think there's anything to complain about this watch. Of course you're going to get people moaning about the size of it, and it won't suit everyone. It's kind of just down to taste. Of course, there's going to be people who think that chaps shouldn't wear a 34mm watch, and it's just one of those things, and it's nothing more than that. And it's kind of what makes this watch world interesting, is because we have different tastes and different things going on. Would I part with my cash? Would I part with £3,800 for this watch? Maybe not. If I had that level of cash, I probably would have jumped into something like an Explorer 2, the 16570. Because I'm really eager to get one back again. But if you're looking for a first Rolex and you're not keen on venturing down the pre-owned route, I think this is an incredible route to go. And this watch will last you absolutely forever, both from a technical point of view, but also from a kind of styling point of view. I think this would look awesome on a 16, 17, 18-year-old, but equally it would look very good on a 50-year-old who's in the boardroom. It's kind of just one of those pieces. I hate the phrase timeless, but it is timeless, and Rolex have such a knack of creating timeless designs. I want to say a big thanks to @IamParry for allowing me to get hands-on with this watch, and I do hope you buy another watch soon so we can grab a coffee and explore that one as well. Let me know what you think of this piece, both from a design point of view, but also from the point of view of it being 34mm. I do think that the trend is going down towards smaller watches. On Instagram, I'm seeing fewer and fewer large watches, and I'm seeing more and more people getting involved with smaller watches. I think the fact that Tudor have launched the Black Bay 58, which I tried on the other day, and it's incredible. I think the fact that they've gone down that route and launched a smaller diver, and a few other brands are doing something similar, it is kind of validating that whole thing around the trend of smaller watches. If you're interested in the 39mm version of this watch, Chris from Horology House did a video on that exact piece. I'll put a link in the description below. Guys, do please subscribe to the channel down below. I know it sounds desperate saying things like that, but it does really help to build the channel. And kind of proof that you subscribing helps the channel is the fact that in the new year, I have booked in to go see Roger Smith at his workshop on the Isle of Man. And it is down to the fact that you guys have been subscribed to the channel, which I think, for me personally, is such an epic opportunity, but I'm going to be obviously taking you guys along with me, so it's going to be really quite a fun experience. I'll let you know more details about that when it comes out. But anyway, subscribe to the channel down below. Do hit the thumbs up button if you like this video. Check me out on Instagram at BarkandJack, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.
I'm used to lose a lot, don't even know the reasons why, so I forgot. Lots of loving to these girls so hot.